Give me a moment. We'll go around the room. We'll talk about it. Well, guys, we made it to Thursday. So that's pretty good. So I like to call Thursday night the Friday of weeknights. It makes it feel a lot better because it's like the last weeknight you have of school, and then Friday night's almost more like the Saturday of weeknights. So, but yeah, that's a term that I use, and it just makes Thursday feel so much more better if you call it the Friday of weeknights. Let's see. All right, Nick's the only one on. Cool. If we go to Canvas, we can see what our plans are for today. Let me screen share. No, I don't want that. Stop. Getting on my nerves. Zoom. Okay. Share my screen so Nick can see what we're looking at. And we're going to go down to business law. And we're going to go to announcements. And we're going to talk about your Disney court cases today. Okay, and then we're going to go over notes. So, I don't have a lot planned for today, so we might get done early, and that's fine. If y'all are all okay with that. Is everyone okay with me finishing early? I would think so. While I'm putting away all this stuff and getting the use can air like this, here's the question. Who would like to go first and describe to me their Disney movie they found with a crime that they can turn into a court case? I will go around the whole room. So, somebody tell me. You're going to get sprayed with canning. Actually, you're not, because they're. I'm out. All right, who wants to go ahead? Please. Someone, please. It's not hard. This is not really what? No, this is not hard to decide. Honestly, you can even come up with one on the spot right now. I came up with one on the spot yesterday. I didn't have that planned. Heck, half the things I do up here are on the spot. I'm just kidding. But no, just think of something. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Brainstorm. You've got computers at your disposal. I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes. You can brainstorm. Nick, I'm expecting one from you too. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a Disney crime that you can turn into a court case. And whoever picks the best one will vote on it. I will try to create this is the slowest thing I've ever seen in my life. If that's comedic timing. Anyway, so we're going to vote on it and see who has the best. Are you serious? Like, that's how slow you are. Whoever has the best one, like I said, I will make into an actual mock trial. So you weren't here for that. So did you get online? Cool. You're present. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. No offense to you. But like Yoshi keeps getting tardy to class. If y'all know Yoshi. I don't know if y'all know Yoshi. But yeah, he keeps getting tardy to class. And I'm like, he's getting punished for showing up late to school. And then there's some kids who just don't show up, but they get on Canvas. And it's like, so he gets punished for being late and showing up. Other people just can log in. They're done. I don't know. We're working it all out, though. I keep forgetting why I'm not using my whiteboard, and now I'm realizing why I'm not using my whiteboard at all. This is why. Go! 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 I'm trying to get my dog to eat. My dog recently won't eat, and I'm very upset about it. I think I missed his entire life now. We got him back in February. Oh my gosh. We got him in February, and he was. We kept him in a crate while we were at work for the couple months of him being a puppy. And then we went home because of COVID. So all he's known in his life is us being home with him for the most part. We can't go anywhere for the most part. So I mean, at most we're gone for the day, going to the grocery store. Or we went to the beach a couple times. And now I think he's highly stressed out. And I've never one to have believed in all that. But there's nothing else wrong with him. He acts fine for the most part. He won't eat though, and like I have to hand feed him. Yeah, I'll show you a picture of him in a little bit. All your hearts will melt because he is just. And I'm not being biased. Yes. I would rather you not. I would rather you find a crime. There's crimes in Disney movies. There's tons of crimes in Disney movies. Woody pushes Buzz Lightyear out of a window, and you could try to go for attempted murder for that. I'm trying to get y'all to think like a lawyer would. Like throw the book at somebody. Like
I was gonna make up like fresh, and I was gonna make up like a snowball.
He's trying to kill her. He tries to literally kill her. Just go with murder. Like, but there's tons of murder in Disney movies. These are children's movies, but there's tons of murder. So just go for it. You'll find something, I swear. I don't know. Let me think of another one. Snow White, she was poisoned. There's another attempted murder. 101 Dalmatians, animal cruelty charges. I mean, she's on another level than Michael Vick. I don't know, who else? There's tons of things. Just give me some time. Yeah, keep on this. Oh, okay. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? Nick, is that you? Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. So you just want me to find what would make a court case in a Disney movie? Yes, Nick, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's tons of stuff out there. I want you to think like a lawyer. Like, what can you get somebody on? If you got to be thinking of the client in this instance, obviously. If you're Buzz Lightyear's client, how are you going to get Woody? How are you going to get him thrown in jail? Yeah, sure, whatever, however you want to be it. And then Woody has to find a friend with his cellmate, You got a friend of me, my bunkmate. Anything like that. So I'll give you another like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go around the room. Okay, at this point, I know I said give you 5 minutes. I've given you 4 minutes, so that should be enough. All right. Who would like to volunteer and give me their Disney court case? If no one talks, I'm not showing you my dog. Okay. You saved yourself. Okay, there you go. Now y'all get to see the dog. He's gonna shoot. There you go. There you go. Great. Perfect. He's going to jail. All right. Who would want to defend Captain Hook from these charges? Who's up for the task? No one? Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. That one's going to be tough. That one's going to be tough. That might make a good court case, actually. Mulan versus the country of China. All right.
Also, are charging or trying to charge for attempted murder.
Okay. Cool. I like that. He's going to have a hard time defending himself in that, but that is a case. I like it. Small class, there's only so many options after a while, okay? Someone's got to go. What now? Nick, are you ready?
I guess so.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, like I don't know how to describe it. Really, so like you know in the movie Ratatouille when the rats kind of like kidnap the short chef and throw him in a closet?
Okay.
You could do that.
Okay, I like that. I like that. We're going to talk exactly about that later in the class, so that's perfect, actually. I like that.
Awesome.
That's great. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. I said Disney. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You stole the moon. Ooh. That's. I don't know where that's tried. Unless there's a world court, and there's not. The UN might want to handle that. I don't know. I like it. We're not going to be able to do it because I have no idea what the precedent's on that. But I do like it. I do like it. Okay. Are you? Oh, so you're suing the witch. Okay, the witch. Good, good. I thought you were going after Flynn. I was like, it's a little harsh. She went willingly. But yes, that's a good one too. All right, over here.
Mine's kind of the same one, but different. Rapunzel suing the witch for like child abuse or wrongful imprisonment and like kidnapping.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so all right, so we got 2 votes right now already for Tangled. The problem is I do want something, and y'all did great. This is not saying y'all have a problem. Y'all did great finding court cases. I want something that whoever's defending said witch or, said murderer, Captain Hook, I want there to be a case there, because it'll be quick if you do it this way. Okay, I like it. Are you going for just straight up murder, or are you going for animal abuse? All right, we're just going straight up for murder. I like it. All right. Well, what do y'all think? What's going to be the most fun one to do? If it is one-sided, you're going to find some ways around it. So, What do y'all think? Who just, blurt it out. Who do you think has a good case, would make a fun time? This is for fun for the most part. You're obviously learning, but this is a fun event, so pick something that's going to be fun.
What if it's like the family case? It was like not you, so you add that into it.
Ooh. So we got some pros and cons. So let's just
You can add all the stuff.
So for Bambi case, is that how you spell it? Is it N in there?
Yeah.
Bambi. Yeah, there we go. One thing. See you. Okay, we may have to refer back to the film if needed. Okay, so just pros and cons. Like if there's one that you're like, you know what, that doesn't sound like a good idea, you can give that. But I don't know if you want to be a jerk to someone in your class, but that is what it is. Just call them out. That's a terrible case idea. But give me some more ideas. ETAS, embrace the awkward silence.
I like that the tangle one thing like that.
Yeah, I think tangle, we have 2 for tangled, so tangled. All right. Anyone else think Connor wants to talk? You're welcome to talk some more. No one's gonna interrupt you or anything. Ideas? Who wants to do tangled? Who wants to do Bambi? Oh, imagine that. No one voted. Oh my gosh, you guys. If the United States was full of y'all right now, we'd have no president. No one get majority. Are y'all gonna vote if I put the names on the board? Probably not. Well then just. Oh, we had 2 people do tangled. Are we okay with doing tangled? Yes.
Like, I know it's mine, so it sounds like I'm putting mine forward, but like that's one of the only ones where it's kind of not clear which side is right.
That's true. Which was yours again?
Mulan.
Mulan. That is true. Just because
like it's pretty clear that like Rapunzel was kidnapped.
Okay, so now we have a vote for Mulan. So I do agree. I think he's got a point that you could argue one way or the other. Are we cool with Mulan? All right, let's do Mulan. Then that's the one we'll do. Then hopefully I don't forget by later today. Where's my recollector? All right, so that's figured out. Good job, guys. Good job, Nick. He can't watch the NBA today, so.
That's not funny.
I-
Did you hear that ECU postponed the Marshall game?
That's not funny to even talk about right now, okay?
Haha.
I'm doing all I can to make it through this class. Or I just bawl my eyes out. Okay. I gotta pull that darn thing down again. Okay. Anyway. Yes, unfortunately ECU is moved their start date. Unfortunately. I don't know what I'm gonna do, guys. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to bury myself in NCAA 14, the video game, and just lose all in touch with reality. And just, I am now the head coach of ECU football. That is my reality now.
Holton Friesman.
Holton already won the Heisman. I'm on year, I don't even think I've talked to you, Nick. Because of this pandemic situation, and to all of you, this is how bad it was. I'm on the year 2030 of NCAA 14. And mind you, it didn't start in 2020. This is 2014. So this is how far the rabbit hole I've gone down.
Dang, you've been bored.
I have been. It's been a time, and that's why my dog is having issues. But y'all want to see my dog? Okay, cool. I was gonna show you anyway. All right, this was him as a puppy. Wait, what's the best way to do it? I'll just send my email over here. Go away, Nick. You're in the way. Okay, that's him as a puppy. Isn't he adorable? And then this was him. He got a little bit older. He's sleeping. I'm not hearing a lot of awls, and it's kind of disturbing. That's a cat. So this is not my cat, but this cat shows up in my garage all the time. I don't know whose cat it is. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. But I just want to show y'all the cat that's kind of mine now. I kind of adopted that cat. But this is my dog now. I think he could be a model. I thought about getting in touch with some modeling agents. I'm probably biased. What picture is this? We were trying to brush his teeth one night. He kind of took it. But yeah. Hey, he's a pretty awesome dog. I didn't get the reaction out of y'all like I hoped I would. But whatever, it's fine. Who cares? Now you got to take notes. Because you didn't say all about my dog. I'm just kidding. You're going to have to take notes anyway. All right. So today we're understanding criminal and civil law. We're going over this even more, which works out quite well with our timing on the Disney court case. I'm hoping, so tomorrow's Friday, I'm going to plan on doing this mock trial, obviously, week after next. If for some reason, not saying there's any rumors going around or anything, if we were to go all virtual, how many people would be up for getting online and doing a mock trial via Zoom? Would you do it? Yes, it would be, yes, because I have to be on. If it seems like if we were to go virtual based off stuff we heard at the beginning of the year, if we were to go online, I think I'm supposed to be on Zoom at the time you're supposed to have class. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, here's my plan until I'm told otherwise. I'm going to just have the Zoom open and I'll have stuff for you besides when I do lectures like today. That'll really be the only time I'm actually doing a live Zoom, recording it, posting it on YouTube if you can't watch it at the time that I'm doing it. So just to prepare yourself in case something worse happens, I'm really hoping it doesn't. And then I can continue kind of teaching the way we've been doing. So honestly, again, I'll be on Zoom in case you have questions, in case you need help with an assignment or a project. And I will get on for when I'm doing the lectures, and that's the main thing. So, but if y'all are up for it, I'll do a poll or something. I won't worry about it right now, because the cool thing would be actually, I guess the only cool thing would be if we did that, then we could actually do a mock trial with everyone, because I'm assuming more people would be on Zoom, hopefully. I don't know, though. This class, like, nobody gets on Zoom. And I have, like, 6 people in D-Week who are showing up, and they're not getting on Zoom. And then the online kids, I guess they just never have cared enough to see me at all. So it hurts my feelings a tad bit. But I will prevail. All right, so anyway, we're going to understand criminal and civil law for the rest of today. And then we're going to be done. So I'm trying to speed you through it. So hopefully you've got this pulled up. It's on Canvas on the announcements. You're just filling in those blanks, and then you'll save it to your computer. But make sure you're following along. So a criminal act, an act that is a punishable offense against society. That one's pretty straightforward, right? Elements of a criminal act, whether you were aware of your duty to do or not to do some specific thing, whether you performed an act or omission on a violation of that duty, or whether or not you had criminal intent. Requires state of mind affirming the defendant intended to commit the act and intended to do evil. Duty is everyone's duty to know the law and to conform their conduct to the law. Violation of the duty, specific conduct that violates the statute. So something important to remember. This is why this class is extremely important. This is why I love this class. You're going to learn a lot of things in this class, law-wise, that you probably didn't know beforehand. And it's important that you know these laws because guess what? You get arrested and you do I didn't know I was breaking law. Guess what? You're still going to jail. Like, it doesn't change. There are some, there's obviously with everything we say in this class, nothing is black and white. There are gray areas. The speed limit, for instance, if you're breaking the speed limit, you might get out of that if you said, I had no idea, I'm not even from here, and I was going 55 and a 45. You might get out of that. If you're going 95 in a 45, and you said, I didn't know, you're still going to jail. No, or you're going to get a ticket, obviously. If you're driving drunk, you can't pull. I didn't know I couldn't drink and drive. Obviously, everyone know that. But you see, it opens up a door if you say, oh, if you didn't know the law, then it doesn't abide by you. I didn't know I couldn't murder my neighbor because he got on my nerves. See what I'm saying? It would open up a door, and you don't want that door. The only time is there's gray areas, like I said, you were going 55, things like that. We'll look up some weird laws after this too. I do that some tomorrow, because those are always funny. There's some state it's illegal to sit down on a park bench with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. You can get a fine for sitting on a park bench with ice cream in your back pocket. Why you keep ice cream in your back pocket? I don't know. But, you know, in North Carolina, it's illegal to plow your field with a giraffe. The crazy thing is that must have happened for that to be a law. So I would love to know the backstory of that. Basic crime classification. So we got felonies and we got misdemeanors. So felonies are punishable by confinement for more than a year in a state prison or by a fine of more than $1,000. Misdemeanors, a less serious crime that is usual punishment in a local jail for less than 1 year, or by a fine, or maybe both. An infraction is a non-criminal violation of law, not punishable by imprisonment. For instance, traffic violations, things of those nature, not paying something on time. So stuff like that are more infractions than even misdemeanors. But I'm trying to think of a good example of misdemeanor. I can't think of anything right now. We'll get some examples here soon, though. So no worries. So here are some different crimes. We're going to go through a lot of different ones. So murder is the intentional killing of another person. That's without getting into the first, second degree, voluntary manslaughter, and all that stuff. But let's dive into that. So first degree murder is the willful, deliberate, and premeditated killing of another person, either directly or through another felonious act. With everything going on in this country right now, I would say it's very important. I want to switch the lights if that's okay. Or can you want to turn them off? Okay, if y'all are fine with that. With everything going on, we have a lot of unrest going on in our country right now, unfortunately. I'm not getting into all the details of that. But first degree murder, it would be very beneficial if you are following things going on right now. It'd be very important to understand the difference between first degree, second degree, and even voluntary manslaughter. Second degree murder is an inherently dangerous act or omission done in such a reckless and wanton manner without regard for human life. Okay, if I take a gun out and I say, I'm going to go kill such and such, and I go out and kill him, that's first degree murder. If I decide I'm going to go out and just practice shooting my gun, but I don't think about where I'm shooting it off, and I shoot, somewhere and I hit someone and kill them, I might get second degree murder because I was shooting my gun and I was reckless with it. If I'm driving my car and I decide, you know what, I want to ride on the sidewalks today. I'm going to drive my car down the sidewalk, and I hit someone and I kill them, I'm probably going to get second degree murder. Now, voluntary manslaughter is the killing of another person without malice or intent. The important thing here is there is some intent here. You were basically doing something so stupid that you killed someone. Whereas voluntary manslaughter means you really did not mean to kill anybody. You're still going to have an issue with that because you're probably doing something you weren't supposed to. But there are going to be, it's hard. It's a very big gray area. 1 and 2. Yes. It's difficult and it's weird the way it's worded, but yes, it is opposite of what you would think it is. Yeah. Yeah, and you like ran the red light. You ran a red light, and almost you did that unintentionally. It's a situation where you did break a law and you killed someone, but your law breaking was you were speeding, or it would have been an infraction or something had nothing else happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very minor stuff. Again, though, this is all gray areas. Let's say you add alcohol to the mix of driving, they even try to get people with first degree murder on it. And probably rightfully so. I mean, you probably deserve it at this point. If at this point in the world, if you don't know that you shouldn't drink and drive, then I don't really know how to help you at that point. Yes, and all three of these, that's where we get into these issues. That's where with the George Floyd cases we talked about the other day, it is really difficult to know, which one should we charge him with? Should we charge him with this? Should we charge him with that? This is hard to prove unless you have hard, cold evidence. If you have a letter saying, hey, I'm going to kill this dude today, and you left it on your desk, first degree is easy to prove. If you conspired with other people and there's other witnesses, first degree is easy to prove. But if all I do is without telling anyone and just I've decided in my head I'm going to kill someone, it's going to be hard to prove that, and especially if I have some motive for killing them that isn't just that I decided I want to kill them. If I can prove that I was in a rage of doing something to kill them, I might get second degree murder. That's where it's very important to understand the difference between those. And it can get very confusing, especially with the wording they use. Robbery, so the wrongful taking of property from another person by threat or the actual use of force, violence, or a weapon. We're going to get into I'm tripping over words. We're going to get into the difference of robbery and the different types of robberies here soon. So here we have rape and sex offense. So statutory rape is the defendant engages in a sexual act with another person who is 13, 14, or 15 years older than the defendant, 15 years old, and the defendant is at least 6 years older than the person. Again, big, not black and white. This is the gray area. Because obviously, let's see what someone brought up one time. Trying to think what it was. A 10-year-old and a 16-year-old, for instance, the 16-year-old still going to get in a whole bunch of trouble, even though they're in this age group and there's less, or if it's 15 to 10, and there's less than 6 years. That's where something's going to happen there. The person's going to be in trouble. It's not just, oh, well, that's the law, so I'm okay. No, that's not how it works. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. A date rape victim is unconscious or physically unable to resist an act of sexual act or communicate unwillingness to submit to an act of vaginal intercourse or a sexual act. This doesn't have to be non-consensual. This can be consensual, but guess what? At that age, you don't know what you're doing as much. You don't have the right to vote then. You don't have the right to buy alcohol. You don't have the right to buy cigarettes. You don't have the right to do a whole lot of stuff besides basically go to school and go home. So basically, obviously, consent really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there's consent. It's underage. Here, consent is obviously a big deal, or even being unpaired. Even if there's consent, but if we're impaired, there's some issues there too. So I think the best lesson from all of this is don't go getting paired, and don't go just doing tons of crazy things. I always talk about that in business law because I just feel like it's good advice. But I don't want to go too deep in that because I don't want to do that. Anyway, assault. So simple assault is an attempt to commit battery against another person. This is where it's weird. It feels like in our lifetime we always say like, oh, I'm being assaulted. Well, technically, if you're just saying a simple assault, there's an attempt to commit a battery. While battery is the unlawful touching or forceful striking of another person using a hand, a weapon, or other instrument. Aggravated assault is a person that inflicts serious injury upon another person and uses a deadly weapon. What's a deadly weapon? We don't know. It could be anything, right? You can turn anything into a deadly weapon if you really want to. So that's, again, where I talk about gray areas. Everything can be becoming a gray area in the court of law. You wouldn't think a stapler is a deadly weapon, but I'm sure there's been a situation somewhere in the world where a stapler became a deadly weapon. Kidnapping, the unlawful removal or restraint of a person against his or her will. It's weird it's called kidnapping because it technically can be anyone and not just a kid. So I never looked up the backstory on why it's called kidnapping. Domestic violence. So NC domestic violence laws, domestic kidnappings are defined as current or former spouses, related as parents and children, current and former household members, persons who are in a dating relationship. Big gray area, right? I mean, what's defined as a dating relationship? Interesting enough, if you were just roommates with a person, and look, there's situations where people become roommates, they don't hardly know each other, but it's technically considered a domestic violence if something were to happen there and you started having a violent situation. So that's important to remember. There will be questions about that. Here we got criminal law process requirements. Domestic violence means the commission of one or more of the following acts: attempting to cause bodily injury or intentionally causing bodily injury, placing aggravated party or a member of aggravated party's family or household in fear of imminent serious bodily injury or continuing harassment. Again, it doesn't have to be necessarily someone is in a violent situation. It could be the threat of a violent situation, which goes to a domestic violence situation. Civil law process requirements. So the court, from specific facts shown, may enter an order as it deems necessary to protect the plaintiff if there is danger of an act of domestic violence against them from a defendant. Whew. I'm telling you. Call this on there. Get tough. All right. Moving on. Burglary. So any person who breaks or injures any building with intent to commit any felony or larceny therein. So burglary doesn't mean stealing stuff. It can. Doesn't mean stealing stuff. You can be a burglar and just go break in the house and decide to destroy someone's TV or destroy some of their property. And then in that instance, you would still be a burglar, because a lot of times we see on TV or movies or something that burglary means like stealing. It doesn't necessarily mean stealing. These are some of the hardest questions on the test, because we have these preconceived notions on what we think these terms mean, and not necessarily do they mean what we think they mean. So, that being said, larceny occurs where the value of the property or goods is not more than $1,000. And vandalism is willful or malicious damage to property. Arson is willfully setting fire to or a cause to burn any building or structure of any type. And then embezzlement is fraudulently or knowingly and willfully misplacing or converting any item of monetary value to one's own use. So the main thing there is they actually know they're doing it. If you accidentally took money home and you worked at a bank because you put it in your pocket, which would be really stupid. I don't know why you would do that. But if you did, and you brought it back the next day, they couldn't get your money on investment unless they can prove you did it on purpose. Which, if you put it in your pocket, good chance that they're going to get you. So I don't know. Somehow it got misplaced. You got it. It's got to be willful. Main thing is remember larceny is under $1,000. Just make sure you remember that. All right, we're still going. It's a lot to get through. There's a lot of vocab terms in this one. You can find all these vocab terms on Canvas. They're all laid out for you if you need them. Fraud, using deception to obtain money or property. That could be pretending to be someone. It could be, posing as a business, anything like that. Money laundering is illegal obtaining money is put into through a business to hide its origins. A lot of times that happened during the 40s and 50s and even before that 30s with all the mafias and gangs and stuff up north in Chicago. They had tons of money laundering businesses. Oh, we sell this, but technically in the back we're doing all something crazy illegal. Forgery is placing a false signature on a check or other documents in order to deceive or deprive someone of their property. Guys, writing a check is really important, and I'm going to show you how to do that at some point. Even though it has nothing to do with this class. But make sure you're very careful with your checks. There are terrible people out there. For instance, if you come to bring me a check for FBLA, make sure you know who you're making the check out to, because if I was a terrible person, someone once made the check out to Scott Haddock, with a blank amount. And if I was a terrible person, I would have taken a whole bunch of their money. So make sure you're looking at what you're supposed to be doing. Write the check. Don't ever leave a blank check just lying. That's just, no, don't do that. I literally have had a couple of occasions where kids will come in and they'll bring me a blank check with no name on it. It's already signed by their parents. Awful. I don't know why you do that, but don't do that, because that's a good way to have a forgery issue. And some crimes can be prevented with a little common sense. Treason, giving aid to the comfort of the enemies of the United States. Hopefully none of y'all ever commit treason, but you know now the term. Hopefully you do it before. Perjury is when a person lies during a court or administrative process. I think that happens a whole lot now right now in DC here and stuff on both sides. Obstructions of justice, when a person does something that hinders the court to move forward in a case. Bribery, giving money or property to a public official for a favor. Contempt of court, when a person ignores a court order or shows lack of respect for the court. If you go in and act unruly during a court proceeding, you're going to get contempt of court, and it's actually a crime. Okay, so civil law. So a tort, a private wrong committed by one person against another. Burning your neighbor's bushes up because they're getting on your nerves, taking after your neighbor's property or something like that. That would be a tort. There's duty, obligation to use a reasonable standard of care to prevent injury to others. Breach, break, or breach duty to another person. Causation, that breach of duty caused the injury. Proximate cause, reasonably foreseeable that a breach of duty will result in injury. Vicarious liability is a person is liable for the torts of another, and actual harm, injury caused, and property is destroyed or loss of monetary value. Good examples of some of these torts, and you need to take a reasonable care of what you're doing. For instance, you've got a job and you're loading tons of rocks into a wheelbarrow. While you're doing this, I don't know, but you're doing that, and you decide instead of going the safe route, you're going to go the fast route, go up this kind of steep hill where there's someone walking below it, and then you accidentally dump on the rocks and like it falls on the guy and hurts him. You didn't take a reasonable care. You should have gone the longer path to make sure no one would get hurt and do all these things. That's why businesses a lot of times, they're like construction companies, there's the traffic cones, they have all those people working out there to make sure that there's safety going on, because they need to have a reasonable care for the people going on. They have a duty to make sure that their equipment or their, whatever jobs they're working on, they're not going to hurt somebody. To bring it back to a business perspective. Civil law. So assault, when one person intentionally puts another in reasonable fear of offense or harm to bodily contact. This PowerPoint's a little weird. It goes back over some things, but bear with me. Battery is a harmful or offensive touching of another. False imprisonment is the intentional confinement of a person against the person's will and without the lawful ability to do so. Stores are not technically allowed to keep you there if they decide to lock the doors. That's going to be a test question eventually. Or there's like a assignment that goes along with that. Just because they think someone would have stole something, they can't just keep the whole store locked down and say, we're going to make sure everyone stays until we find out who stole something. It isn't like high school where technically I can write everybody up if I don't get the answer I want who stole something, which that's a whole can of worms too. But you get what I'm saying. False imprisonment can't just take people's lives without their own will. Defamation, so a false statement injures a person's reputation or good name. That happens a lot these days, but no one ever does anything about it. Invasion of privacy, uninvited intrusion into one's personal relationship and activities. This is interesting. This is very interesting now with everything online. Your online information is everywhere. I would tell you this, but probably anybody can figure it out. If you want, you can look my name up and you can find my cell phone number and you can find everything about me if you would. Trust me, I've had kids give my phone number in the middle of class and call me in the middle of class. It's a good time. Anyway, but is that an invasion of privacy or is it not? It's a good question. I don't know. With most social media apps, you kind of sign up for that and you kind of sign away that right of having privacy when you post all the stuff you post on a social media website and you agreed to their privacy policies. They usually have a privacy policy and you can go read it. Does anyone ever read it? No, no one ever goes and reads it. Did I read it? I'm not saying anything wrong. No, I haven't read it. I'm on Facebook. I'm on different apps. And I didn't read the privacy policy very well. And then I'm shocked when I turn around and because I search on Walmart for something, it pops up on Facebook because they're watching everything I do. I don't like that they're listening to me because I didn't agree to that. Now, I've seen that in the privacy policy, and I watched Mark Zuckerberg say in front of Congress that he did not have his app listening to you, and I have good proof that he is, to be honest. Have y'all had that happen? Yeah, you've been talking about something, and the next thing on Facebook, there's an ad for it. Just like that. He is definitely selling your information, which he's said that, they'll sell some of your information. You can block that. You can not allow that. You got to go in the settings and do that. But I'm telling you, they're listening. So keep that in mind. Don't be shocked when you talk about something. And that happens. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically it on invasion of privacy. So it is very interesting to see all these things. Trespass the land, so entry onto the property of another person without consent. That becomes a gray area sometimes. Where's your land end? Where's my land begin? Conversion when property is stolen, destroyed, or used in a manner that is inconsistent with an owner's rights. Interference with contracts. If a third party encourages a breach in any way, then that third party may be liable in tort. So we're going to get this more when we go over contract law. Contract law is an interesting section, but it is a little bit more dry. But we will go over more about, you're not allowed to go interfere. If I have a contract with Connor for, I'm going to go mow his yard or something. Let's think. Yeah, I'm going to go mow his yard for a certain amount of money. Then Matthew can't come in and be like, you know what, I'll give you $40 if you don't go mow his yard. He can't come in and do that at that point. You can't interfere with other people's contracts. Why he doesn't want your grass mowed, I don't know, but he apparently has a thing against it. Fraud also occurs when there is an intentional misrepresentation. We went over that. Civil law is negligence, a tort, or civil law continued. Negligence is a tort that results when a person carelessly injures another. That's what we're talking about, with that wheelbarrow with the rocks example. Elements of negligence: the defender owed the plaintiff a duty of care. That's the duty of care, making sure that my wheelbarrow of rocks doesn't fall on him. The defendant breached that duty by being careless. I chose the quick path that was more dangerous. The defendant carelessness was the proximate cause of harm. The rocks that fell out resulted in his injury. If it's not resulting in their injury, but they got injured in some other way, then obviously that has nothing to do with it. The plaintiff was really hurt by the defendant's carelessness. So if my rocks fell and tapped him and hit his shoe, and they're tiny rocks, he can't sue me. I may have still been careless, and I still may have been negligent, but he can't sue me because a rock hit his foot. He has to be injured. And that injury doesn't have to be bodily injury. It could be, I have a whole bunch of rocks, and they destroyed his mailbox. Something like that. Then we get into federal stuff because it's the mail system. So, but we'll get more into that as well later. Defense to negligence, contributory negligence. The defendant can show that the victim did something that helped cause his or her own injuries. So let's say I was doing the rock with the wheelbarrow thing, and there was a clear sign around the area, like construction area, walk at your own risk. If that's there, then you get out of it. Comparative negligence, when the carelessness of each party is compared to the other party's carelessness. So you start saying who's the more careless one. And then assumption of risk, which is kind of what I talked about with that first one. When the plaintiff knew of the risk involved and still took the chance. Assume risk. I worked at a pool when I graduated from high school, and up until this summer was the first summer I didn't work there really. And we didn't have lifeguards. I was just a pool attendant, made sure people coming in had bands. But people swam at their own risk. If they drowned, that wasn't on me. No, that's not to say I wouldn't try to help someone, obviously. I wouldn't throw them a break or nothing. But, I was not at risk for being sued if they were to drown because there were signs everywhere that said swim at your own risk. Now, here's the thing. You cannot sign away your right to sue. It's important that y'all know that. You can't sign away your right to sue. You can always sue. Will it go to court? Probably not. So if someone did drown at our pool, could they have sued us? Yes. Would it have gotten very far? Probably not. That's how it works. So just understand that. I'll give some more examples of that later, though. Civil remedies, court injunction, so court order that prevents a party from performing a specific act and may be temporary or permanent. So this is when the court would tell you not to do something. Back to, let's say I am doing the job where I'm mowing his grass, and I decided I like to mow his grass at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, Connor's neighbors don't really like that, so they may have a court injunction that would tell me not to do that, right? So it would be possibly permanent, or maybe it's just for a certain amount of time. Damage is a payment recovered in court by a person who has suffered an injury. So I'm being careless and I'm mowing, I'm not paying attention to anything I'm doing, and something flies out of the mower, hits somebody in the head, and it hurts them real bad. I may have to pay their medical bills. So alternative dispute resolutions are resolving a disagreement outside of the usual court system. So there's mediation and there's arbitration. Mediation is when parties to a dispute invite a mediator to help solve the problem. Advantage, the final decision remains in the hands of the parties, and arbitration is giving the power to settle the dispute to a third party. Advantage often result in a fair solution because the decision is in the hands of an objective third party. Judge Mathis and Judge Judy are basically arbitration people. They may have been former judges. I think Judge Judy used to be a judge, but all she's doing is arbitration. She is the one deciding what's going to be happening here, so those people don't have to pay tons of court money and proceedings and all that stuff. Does that make sense? So she may be called Judge Judy, but she really should be called Arbitrator Judy because that's what she's doing. All right, that's it. So we went through crimes, and the cool thing was y'all had already been thinking about said crimes because you were doing the Disney court case thing. So I'm glad we got through all of those things. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to think of anything else we need to go over from that. Yeah, how did I get done so quick? I don't know. Some more examples of some things. Just, going over stuff. Back to the assumption of risk. You go, my family at one point, when I was younger, owned a hunting preserve. And my mom had made this cool document. It was long. It was basically saying you couldn't sue us if something happened to you on a hunt. Lo and behold, we have a lawyer come out and hunt one day, and he's like, yeah, this might save you, but in the big scheme of things, someone could still sue you. The reason for things like that, though, and the reason we talk about gray areas and things change constantly is, what if my dad, who kind of ran the hunting preserve, got a tree stand out there, and he knowingly didn't have it hooked up right, and the person called and hurts themselves? Should they be allowed to sue at that point? Yeah, because the equipment was faulty and he knew it was faulty. So yeah, he would need to be sued. Just because they signed something saying that they couldn't sue, that kind of goes out the window now because you did something without a reasonable care. You weren't doing your duty of due diligence. I got it. But yeah, so those are things to think about. And when we start looking at court cases and things like that, which I'm going to try to do some more of this year, I try to add that more and more, try to find some more court cases for us to look at and dissect. It's important to see that just because this law says this, there's some ways around it. That's what lawyers are always trying to do, is they're looking for ways, I'm being charged with this, how can I make it this? If I'm, defending a guy who's being charged with first-degree murder, how can I maybe drop the second-degree murder? How can I drop second-degree murder down to manslaughter? Those are the ways that lawyers kind of think. It might not necessarily be, can I get him off innocent? What can I drop his sentence? But yeah, so fun things to think about. That's basically all I have for today. I got us to 2:40 on the dot. So yeah, any questions over what we went over today? Nothing? if you do Google my name and I come up with a political party, I am not saying I'm for that political party. I'm not saying with that political party. My mother works for the clerk of court who runs every year, and I was in that political party because I was campaigning for her. So, yeah, don't take everything you find on the internet as the gospel. Not saying I'm the opposite of that party. Not saying I am for that party. I feel like everyone's going to search me. Please don't. Anyway, but yeah, because it is in there. My mother, her boss is in the Democratic Party because it's a lot easier filing and stuff like that, at least in Pitt County. And for a long time, people didn't really run in Pitt County. A lot of times you would just have primaries in the Democratic Party. It's really dumb, in my opinion, that judges and the clerk of court have a political party because you really don't want your judge to be in a political party. Like, I mean, yeah, they may have one that they tend to go towards, but you really don't want like the guy judging you. Like, you don't care if he's a Democrat or Republican. You just want to give you a fair sentence. My mom works with wills and estates, so like, you don't really care if the person who's dealing with your, like, let's say someone in your family member dies. You really don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. You just want them to treat you fairly. So I don't know why they're associated with political parties. It's getting to the point that I think every official who runs for something is becoming associated with the political party, and it's kind of ridiculous because, again, for instance, the sheriff. We had a big sheriff election just, what was it? Was it last year? It was the year before last. And literally, like, who cares what party the sheriff is in? Like, that shouldn't matter at all. So I don't know why that is become a thing, and it didn't used to be a thing, but it's kind of gotten more and more that way. But yeah, so she's in the Democratic Party just because that's how it works. So I am technically, if you find me online, I'm a registered Democrat. I'm not telling you I'm a Democrat. I'm not telling you I'm a Republican. I stay right down the middle, I think, on everything I try to talk about here. I try not to offend anyone. But I just wanted to address that real quick. So, alrighty, because I did have kids, and the only reason I do this, I usually never even brought it up, but I had kids come in one time, they're like, Mr. Raddick, I didn't know you were a Democrat. And I was like, what the heck? And then they showed me where they looked me up, and I was like, all on the Democratic voter registration website. And I was like, seriously? Like, why are y'all sharing my information like that? But it is what it is, but I'm just here to tell you that I'm not going to tell you what political party I'm with. Anyway, get Zoom to come over now. Turn off the projector. Well, Nick, you got any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I can't. There we go. I got Zoom over here. Stop sharing. All right. Adios, Nick. I will see you later.